Welcome, everyone. What we are watching, episode 58. Joey here, along with my co-host TJ. How are you, sir?
I was doing the peekaboo in when the beat dropped, and it felt amazing. So I'm great, bro. How are you doing, man?
You know what? I am better than I deserve, but I am here.
Awesome.
We're getting closer and closer to Christmas, which is my favorite time of the year. I'm enjoying that. But it's like this. You got your to-do list. I feel like
Right.
everybody has that list of things they have to do, whether it's written down or just in your head.
Yep.
And I'm getting stuff accomplished, but it feels like I'm not getting any closer to the bottom of the list. Like I'm not really adding things, but still,
Right.
like I'm like I should be farther along than I am.
I feel like other things, while you're not adding anything to the list, other things do get added to the day to day, which spread out your ability to check things off.
Mm-hmm.
So you may have thought, oh man, I'm checking off 5 things today, but you only end up checking off 2 because everything else went down.
I had to, as part of my job yesterday, go and check a bunch of rooms. They were supposed to be empty, but they're like, we don't want to give it to housekeeping. And then they go in and there's still people's stuff there. So it's really like just double check that these rooms are actually
Right.
empty. So you think like to still knock, because we still have a lot of people, like it could be an apartment, but one person's still in there. So to still
Right.
knock and wait and then key in, you're looking at about 2 to 3 minutes per room. Again, not a lot, but I had a lot of rooms and I'm like, I'm gonna do this. Like I worked around back towards my office, and then I'm like, I'm gonna get the 2 buildings that had the most rooms last. And I usually go from the one that I get to the other one, and then come back to my office. I said I need to do it the other way because I'm trying to follow along on this paper, dude. 4 hours it took me. I walked 11,000 steps yesterday. I get to the second apartment, and my like I guess my thumbnail had just like a tiny like I don't know scratch or something in it, and it got hung on something and
Oh yeah.
peeled back to the quick. And
Yeah.
but it did not peel off. I'm like I could do it, but like if I get caught again, it's just gonna it might tear the whole nail off. So I'm like,
Right.
folks, forgive me. I'm doing like some homemade like clipping with my I'm like, well, it's my finger. It shouldn't be in my mouth
Right.
anyway, but
Fine manicuring.
right. And so I'm like, oh, so that hurt me the rest of the day. I'm getting to the last building. I'm like, oh, well, I went it about the other way, but this has less rooms than I thought. The elevator did not work. We got 5 floors. We have like an underground floor, which we call the terrace floor because they can
Right.
see out ground level at their window. And then we've got 4 regular floors. I hit that terrace first, got all those rooms, and then climbed all the way up to the fourth because I'm like, we're gonna work our way down. I ain't once I get up to that top steps, I ain't climbing any more steps.
I feel it.
And it felt like I had been in like a prize fight. You ever had that feeling where you just like I
Yeah.
hadn't really done anything, but I'm exhausted.
Right. Big facts.
So
Now I do want to say this before we move on because you mentioned the catching of the nail. Anyone who's ever, split that nail and caught it on something like a shirt or some netting or whatever, right?
right.
I need to put this out there because I'm not saying that anyone that has been shot is BSing about what they feel. I just know from experience as someone who's never been shot that the nail thing that we're talking about, paper cuts, when you bite your tongue, those are some pains that are real, bro. And,
Right.
and and they stick around. Again, to those of you who have been stabbed, I'm not taking anything away from your struggle. I'm just saying the hands are delicate.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Although I'll
Stump
say
your
this,
toe and call me.
my wife does not get it, but maybe you will. I'd rather have this same thing happen to me 10 days in a row, TJ,
Right.
than to just accident like have somebody just come by and just flick and graze the balls. The sack, you know what I'm talking about? I'd almost rather you just straight up punch me there than to just.
It's the graze that happen, especially when you're not expecting it, because you're talking about an almost nauseous feeling to come upon you, depending on how clean that tappity tap is. So I'm like, yeah, I know the pain that you're talking about, and it's a great segue because we are jingling bells. Ha!
We are 100%, but I can tell you it's that leftover. If you want to talk about this time of the year, we talk about it, and we're going to get more into it in our list, where trauma hits you hard from when you're, because like in normal everyday life, like I'm still on alert because all that stuff comes from like middle school, high school, when they used to do it for fun. To this day, TJ, when I'm in public and I'm sitting down and I go to pull up, I grab the bottom of my chair and pull it up to me, because I've been in those things where they pull it back and you fall on the floor.
Right.
I'm almost 50 years old. I am almost 50 years old. Next year, I go to my 30th high school reunion. And there, I'm going to do the same exact thing. Like, you're not going to get me this time, Johnny. He's like, I'm a lawyer. I'm a pillar of the community. Like, he wouldn't pull my chair
like
out.
You would do it. You know it's embedded in you.
He's like, then he goes back to the back. He's like, he knew.
He knew. Foiled again.
But I think we would be remiss right here before we start. It's a tragic thing that happened, but I think we need to acknowledge the passing of Rob and Michelle Reiner yesterday. Just a horrific situation. We're not going to get into it, folks. If you're watching this, you've probably seen it and you know all of that. But I just wanted to say, to them, may their memory be a blessing. And I think sometime, TJ, in the new year, we need to cover a Rob Reiner film. And there's just so many great ones out there.
I'm going to say this, bro. Partly because ignorance is a little bit of bliss. I watched The Wolf of Wall Street over the weekend, which he was in, and he did a great job, and he showed his range in that film. Not a big role, but he showed his range in that film. So being able to share that with my partner, and we're watching it, and we enjoyed, him in that film. And then to see, only because, I'm a headline reader for the most part, unless it's something that I'm really invested in, and then I'll do my research. I just saw that he had passed. And I was like, man, that's crazy. I was just watching this movie the other day.
Right.
And I know nothing of the details of what, except for the fact that he has passed. And I'm okay with that.
All of the information was dumped on me yesterday morning, 2 minutes after I woke up. But everything, and I'm like, because my sister, she and one of her friends and I, we have like a rest in peace, like no death. It's called death notifications chat, because like we don't want somebody's death to go like unnoticed and all of that. And she put on there, and she's like, I'm so upset, and then came up with all of the details. And I'm like, oh, that's just. It was a lot. But I mean, you're talking about the director of Stand By Me and Misery and A Few Good Men and The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally.
Some bangers.
Like 5 in a row. Like Princess Bride, bangers. Stand By Me, Misery. They said he had 5 in a row. And I'm like, ooh, yeah. So we'll talk about it. We'll discuss it and such. And just a quick thing, folks. And this is all part of the overall Joey Harris universe, because I think it was actually on the last episode of the Joey Harris show that you and I recorded together. I talked about my search for $2 bills.
Yes.
And I have finally located and have procured some $2 bills. My wife
Right.
is like, why don't you try this bank? And it was associated with the branch that her father worked for many, many years ago. And it was located in the town where one of her schools is. She's a school librarian. I said, oh, I'll do that. And so I called them and I said, do you have any? And she's like, let me check. Yes, we do. We have this amount, which was more than enough we need. I said, let me have this many of them. That way you all still have some if somebody else wants some.
Right.
And so I contacted my wife. I said, ask for Teresa or whatever her name is. And they close at 4:00 today. And she says, well, she also wants those 20, 25 pennies. And I said, oh my goodness, I forgot. She's like, that's all right, I'll ask. It was almost like it was when we were talking about it, TJ. They're like, we ain't got no pennies. We barely have like a 2007 penny up in here. In fact, if you have any, we'll take some off your hands.
We'll take your pennies.
Because everybody's like, oh yeah, we're gonna get behind this. It costs us 4 cents to make a penny. Darn if they didn't need to have a plan before they just implemented. Right. Like, here we go.
Is it?
But people like, I still need pennies. We ain't figured out whether we rounding down or rounding up. We need pennies. He's like, do you have any? Can you check your coin tray in your car? Don't act like you ain't got a coin place in your car.
Big time fact. If you don't have because everybody is not fancy and does not have an actual piggy bank. If you don't have a jar of pickles that you cut a hole in the top of, or if you're not me and I got one of those big old things of pork rinds from the bread store, y'all know the Sunbeam store. Yeah, cut the check. That's what we call a crossover.
That is what we call a crossover. And I can tell you this, TJ. I was on TikTok the other day, and this girl I forget now what she was talking about, but she was making her whole point, and I was sending that out to people. And our mutual friend Nan responded back to me, is she just casually drinking from a pickle jar? And I go back and look, homegirl got a jar of pickles, TJ. It's open, and she's just casually mentioning like the weather in North Carolina or something like that. And I'm like, I'm not mad at it. You go ahead and you do you.
Drinking pickle juice from a pickle jar or just using a pickle jar recycled?
No, there is juice and there are pickles in there, but the top is off, and she's got it like I've got this can of Sprite, just casual,
I respect her as a person. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, but I respect her as a person.
Listen, again, once we get merchandise, folks, it's going to be the first thing I merchandise. It's going to be a coffee cup, a nice one. It's heavy, got some heft to it. Says, don't worry about what's in my cup.
Don't worry about what's in my cup.
Because there's too many people worried about what's in your cup now.
Right. When they got stuff in their cup, but they sitting there worrying about what's going on with mine. It's Christmas.
Everybody who knows me knows I love coffee, but I like stuff in my coffee. Can I drink it black? Absolutely. That's one of the Harris rules of life. Learn to drink coffee black and drive a stick shift. You never know when you might have to do either. But my preference is not black coffee. I add a little sweetener and I add a little cream to mine. But the black coffee drinkers, you would have thought I went up, forced them to drink it and added like a layer of foam on top. Held their nose closed and forced them to drink it. I drink it black the way everything ought to be.
All right.
So you run it through water. Why not just crunch the beans through your teeth?
Why not eat the beans straight? Why not grind them beans up and do a line, Samuel?
Oh, Sebastian's off. See, next week, the greatest week for Sebastian. He's the man then, because he's going to let you go. But he's like, and he's going to tell you on the way out, folks, this has been like a years-long thing with us breaking down Sebastian. He tells you, it's like the 23rd. Like, look, we're supposed to do a half day tomorrow. Y'all leave early today. I'll clock. He's got you, and he's the best boss ever. But he tells you before, listen, y'all know we got to work after Christmas. Now, if you want to take the 26th off, I can handle that. But the next up until New Year's, you're like, I got you. I got Sebastian.
No problem.
I got to go buy Hardee's first. You want something from Hardee's? I'm going to bring you a biscuit.
Get him a gravy biscuit.
You know, them cinnamon raisins is back, TJ. I don't know if you know that.
I
And then
get you.
they're
I get
driving
you half dozen.
that 27th. You know they're gonna be cussing my man. They're
Hot.
gonna be cussing him hard. You know he could have shut us down. That ain't his place. He's just the boss. He's not the owner.
Y'all loved him last week
You
when he
loved
gave
him
the
last week
day.
on the 23rd. Let you leave at 3 on the 23rd. Clocked you out at 5 and went ahead and wrote that time in on the 20th. He's there on the 24th. He's doing payroll. He's doing the auditing. He's doing all of that. Just he's got the loudspeaker on and Feliz Navidad and everything else
Right.
is just blaring. But he's just happy. He's like, I got a good group. I'm gonna put them in for bonuses.
Now, mind you, him processing payroll early, if you check your account, you got paid before Christmas. You got paid before you were supposed to get paid on that Friday after.
Supposed
But
to get paid
still.
on the 26th, and it dropped noon on the 24th. Merry Christmas.
And you
And you're
still
like-
sitting there hot.
You're like, and y'all are calling around on the 24th. You know, we really should get something for Sebastian. Listen, when we get back, when we get back next year, they're gonna calmly like put it in. We should really do something for him next year. You know, he said we got to come back on the 27th. I don't think he said that.
I didn't hear that, y'all. Check the group chat. See if he said it in the group chat. Oh, he said it in the group chat. Don't worry about that. Look,
Then
enjoy
you
it.
see, you upgraded to go back to the earlier version. So you upgraded and then added messages. I think that's from last year. You know, they've been having trouble. They ain't dropped the new upgrade yet.
Is that the message with all the emojis? Because you know he don't use emojis no more. he is anti-emoji now.
Why is that? You know, his wife dropped that eggplant on him one time. They not together no more. Yeah, your voice drops like a. They not together no more.
They're not together.
Oh, good.
We supposed to.
This is the Christmas show. This is our own
Christmas show. This is a Christmas list. But I get time with my guy.
That's
Anytime I get, y'all think we just coming together to do a show. This is me getting to hang out with my friend.
Listen, folks, you make this popular enough and the money starts pouring in, we'll just get together on a Wednesday and I ain't got no format. We'll just sit here and talk.
And y'all will love it.
Would love it. But this is our Christmas shows list. Last year we did our Christmas movies list. And all of this. This is our Christmas shows list, episodes of TV shows. All right.
We're going to go back next year.
I was thinking like those, like just Christmas, like specials, like Rudolph, like the things that are not episodes and the things that are not. But it's like what we're watching. I guess we could look at the radio while they're playing
Christmas commercials.
Christmas commercials. Oh, but you see, we could do multi-years of episodes.
Yes,
I was like, I could have done. I could have done just Office episodes of Christmas shows.
Bro, I could have done just Bob's.
Right. So, but I'll tell you, folks, spoilers for mine because I have so many. There's not an Office or Bob's on mine this year.
Ooh, there is not an Office on mine. And I have a list of Bob's, but only one made the actual list.
See that? So we're good for the next 10 years, folks.
Big facts.
I do have, now normally I would not do this, but I have one thing that does not fall into a regular movie and it doesn't fall into a regular TV show. So I have one honorable mention, and that is the television movie, The Homecoming, A Christmas Story. Now, technically, people count this as the pilot episode to The Waltons because it's like The Waltons and all that. They have a different woman playing the mom and the dad and the grandpa. Everybody else is the same, but they were not planning on doing a TV show when they did the movie. So that is my one honorable mention.
All right. So, I mean, if I'm not, I'll save my honorable mentions until I get to Bob's on the list because, again, it's just my Bob section.
Okay. All right. You want to go first with your number 5?
Absolutely. I do not mind going first with my number 5. And with number 5, give me 1 second. With number 5, I'm going to be looking at Community. Regional Holiday Music, Season 3, Episode 10. I got in my notes, this is the one where the gang sings. So you got Taran Killam from SNL, also spent a little time on Wild 'N Out, came on and special guest as the Glee instructor.
Mm-hmm.
And as we find out that their former Glee team was lost in a horrific bus crash, they're now trying to get the gang from our Spanish study group to be in the Glee because they did such an amazing job covering last time. And each cast member has a different song theme. And the last thing I'll say about this episode, if you're looking for an excuse to watch it, the character Annie Edison has a very amazing rendition of was it Santa Baby or something like that. It was real sexy. So yeah, if you are looking for just a sophomore excuse to watch it, Annie Edison.
Nice. All right. I'm writing that down so I can recap us at the end. All right. My number 5, Home for Christmas, from the show Riptide, Season 3, Episode 9, first shown on December the 17th, 1985. As we're recording this, that's 40 years ago tomorrow.
That's great.
Yeah. So, are you familiar with the show Riptide, TJ?
I am not familiar with Riptide, man. I don't think I am.
I will go over it very, very quickly. All right. It stars my head just went blank.
That happens every once in a while to me. It's called getting older.
It is. Hold, please.
That's a nice name for a show. Riptide.
Yeah, Perry King, Joe Penny is who I was looking for, and Tom Bray. Joe Penny, if you're familiar with later on in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, played Jake on Jake and the Fat Man.
Gotcha.
All right. So with these three own a detective agency. They used to be in the Army together. All right. Nick, Joe Penny plays Nick. Why are they my thing? Perry King plays Cody, and Tom Bray plays Barry Bozinski. They call him Boz. He's like the smart one, the nerd, if you will. He has a robot called the Roboz. And all of that. All right. They own a detective agency out that they run out of a houseboat called the Riptide.
Okay.
They also have a speedboat called the Ebbtide, and Nick also does harbor cruises on a gigantic old Army helicopter painted bright pink called the Screaming Mimi. Show ran for 3 seasons. What I liked about it was that it did not take itself too seriously. In their second or third season, one of the two, they put moonlighting opposite of it, and it just killed them in the ratings. And they're like, we're going to get canceled. So they said, if you can't beat them, join them. And that they did an episode called If You Can't Beat Them, Join Them, where they become the technical advisors of a TV show that is just like moonlighting.
Wow.
And a mystery ensues. But in this one, it's called Home for Christmas. Nick is also a member of the National Guard. So he's in the Guard Reserve. And it's Christmas time. Christmas has never been his favorite holiday, but he's like, it was always like low key, like put Perry Como records on the stereo. Like we'll have a couple of decorations and just chill. Right. But he's sick, and the other two are like trying to like decorate and all of that. And if you've ever been that, like you can feel for him. He doesn't feel great. Christmas is automatically not his favorite time, but like they won't even keep it low key. Well, his not employer, like his colonel or whoever that he's under, asked him if he would escort a soldier's body home, which is part of what their duty is, because everybody else has family. And he says, yeah, he'll be happy to do it. So Nick escorts a soldier's body home, and then the mystery starts, is what I say. So he's arranging it. He meets the man's father, who's the only family he has left, played by James Whitmore. If you all don't know who James Whitmore is, he played Brooks on Shawshank Redemption. The older man, yes.
Yeah.
So, so they release the body to the funeral home. Well, to issue a death certificate, you have to have basically a basic autopsy done. And the coroner calls and says, "This is not the man." And he goes, "What do you mean it's not the man?" It said when he was younger, they were playing hockey and he went through the ice for a moment. He was pulled out and was okay, but one of his toes got frostbite and they had to amputate it. But this body has all 10 of its toes.
Yeah, that ain't the guy.
So then they're like, "Hey, something's going on here." So they investigated it. And TJ, it is a heart-wrenching performance by James Whitmore on all of this. It's on my list, and I'm going to try not to get emotional with this and another one, because Christmas isn't a happy time for everyone. But sometimes you have to do the hard things even at Christmas because they are the right things to do. You can tell when it starts, this is not going to be rainbows and lollipops. Like, he thinks his son is still alive, and they're like, he's probably not.
That's
And I'm just going to say this, folks. I'm not ruining anything, but the episode ends at a funeral, at a military funeral. But I'll say this, it's easily available. If you just type in Riptide Home for Christmas, you can find it online. I'm not going to tell you, but you might have to take to the open seas. That's all I'm going to say for this. But I'll say this. They have a song at the end that they play. That's an okay song. If you want the full effect, when that song hits, hit pause, hit mute, and then play what they played at the original airing of it, which is Happy Christmas, War is Over by John Lennon. Because that's all that plays is the song. There's no more dialogue. If you can get through that and don't start crying, you're a better person than I am. But again, it's one of those things, like, it's cathartic almost. Like, you need to go through this experience to be, I think, a better person, especially around this, to realize, hey, this is hard for some people, but sometimes you have to do the right thing, even though it's the hard thing.
That's all right, man. That's all right. I appreciate you for educating me on that one. Thank you.
You're welcome. What's your number 4?
It's nothing compared to the one you just dropped on us. But hey, still, I'm here to show love to these actors and directors and producers that put these shows together. So even though Joey just dropped down that heartfelt nugget, I'm coming back with Superstore. Season 5, episode 8, entitled Toy Drive. This one, if you're familiar with Superstore, it gives you Walmart vibes. You know, I feel like that's what they're going for, even though Walmart does exist in that universe as well as Target. But in this episode for Toy Drive, Fred Armisen of SNL, it's funny these comedians coming around, but he guest stars in this episode as someone playing a Salvation Army-esque type person that's collecting coins with the ringing bells outside of the store. The main character, Amy, is now the manager and actually gave Fred Armisen's character permission to be there to collect money and toys. All the while, Mateo, one of her internal friends from the store, is trying to make a case for himself to not be deported because of his status. And chaos ensues when Fred Armisen they're trying to get rid of him so that, you know, Mateo's toy drive can get some bang. And yeah, it's a funny episode, and it, at the heart of it all, it's funny that we're talking about this because I've listed majority comedies on mine, but it's like at the heart of it all, we've still got storytelling being done where we're telling some stories about, you know, people less fortunate. Yeah, Fred Armisen's character ends up stealing all of the toys from the Toys for Tots situation. But, it's supposed to be, for people in need. It's just, again, chaos ensues. And anytime chaos can ensue, I'm here for it.
Nice. I saw that actually, like part of that storyline was on a list of something that I saw recently, especially with everything that's happened over the last year about immigration status. They talked about that character and that storyline. So I remembered that. Did want to mention, I forgot when I had my number 5 for Riptide. James Whitmore plays the father. His son, James Whitmore Jr., actually directed that episode. He's since directed a lot of movies and TV shows. That was his first directing credit.
Nice.
My number 4, High Holidays, Frasier, season 11, episode 11, first shown on December the 9th, 2003. Just an all-around funny holiday episode. It is my wife's favorite episode of Frasier. She's not really a Frasier fan, but she absolutely loves this episode. Frasier's son Freddie visits him for the holidays and has become a goth. And they talk about that, like his rebellious phase and all that. And Martin says that he, at one time had bought a motorcycle and had dyed his hair. And Frasier went through a streaking phase when he was in college, but Niles never rebelled. And they're like, we're sorry, it never happened. Well, at this time, he's married to Daphne and they've got a child on the way. And he feels like, if I'm going to be a father and I'm going to tell my son not to rebel, I need to have rebelled once. So he decides he's going to get high. So he contacts Roz to hook him up, and she brings him a pot brownie that her neighbor makes.
Nice.
But his car, I think his car is about to be towed. So he hands it to his dad, who's dieting because his girlfriend says he's been putting on too much weight. He opens it up every time, would you like a cookie? He's like, no. He opens it up and sees the brownie. And so he eats the brownie and replaces it with a regular brownie from the coffee shop.
Oh.
And so then later on, he comes back and Niles thinks he's high, like he's been like microdosing and all of that. And he's trying to do what he thinks are crazy things. And then the father comes in actually stoned.
Right. I like that.
It is hilarious, folks. It is readily available on several different things. So if you check it out, it's called High Holidays, Frasier, season 11, episode 11.
Nice.
All right, we're on to your number 3, sir.
So it's funny that the 2 episodes that I have back to back at 4 and 3 have something to do with immigration. But my number 3 is My Name is Earl. If you know anything about me, I like Jeff Garcia comedies. My Name is Earl follows the story of a no good Nick, aka a crook criminal, trying to he finds karma through Carson Daly and starts writing down everything he's done wrong, and he's trying to fix that. So in this episode from season 1, episode 10, entitled White Lie Christmas, Earl is trying to win Joy a car. There's a radio contest going on, and Earl enlists his brother, Randy, as well as their maid, Catalina, aka Miss Velasquez in the movie Widow that I was in. Bang! She is helping Earl. Now, mind you, Catalina doesn't like Joy at all. And when you learn that, you learn why as well from watching the series. But Catalina at no point in time says that she's trying to win the car for Joy. She's just there to help Earl, but she is not there to win the car for Joy. And I said it's funny that these 2 episodes that I list back to back have something to do with immigration because, spoilers, Catalina ends up winning the contest. And when they ask her for her information in order to be able to give her the car that she won, she takes off running because she does not have any information. And it's funny because you mentioned the immigration of it all, talking about Mateo's character from Community, and then I look at my list and I'm like, wow, both these 2 episodes have something to do with immigration and Christmas.
Nice. My number 3 is The Strike, Seinfeld season 9, episode 10, first played December the 18th, 1997. It's the creation of Festivus.
Mm.
At the same time, Kramer is the strike has officially ended at H&H Bagel. They did not realize that Kramer's been on strike all these years, and that the strike is finally over. The reason that the strike is finally over is that they were striking for higher wages, and minimum wage has finally hit the amount that they were striking for. He's the only one that has returned. Everybody else has gone on and gotten regular jobs. And the guy's like, well, it is kind of busy here at the time and all of that. So he gets a job at the bagel store temporarily whenever something happens. He doesn't like it. He goes back on strike and goes on and says, no bagel, no bagel, no bagel outside. At the same time, George does not want to give out holiday like cards and gifts, so he makes up the Human Fund and tells them that a donation has been made in their name to the Human Fund, and he gives out cards. Well, they call him on it, and he says the real reason that he's done it is that they persecuted his family because his family celebrated Festivus, which was the real thing that his father had made up. He says, I wanted a doll for my son, and I went for it at the same time as another lady did. And as our rain blows down upon her, I realized there's got to be a better way. So he created the anti-holiday of Festivus that is celebrated every year on December the 23rd. And they have the feats of strength, the airing of grievances, and there's not a tree, there's a metal pole because Frank finds tinsel distracting.
Festivus for the rest of us.
Festivus for the rest of us. Your number 2, my friend.
My number 2 is where I'm going to weasel in my Bob. So, honorable mentions first before I get to my episode. My honorable mention 1, Christmas in the Car. That's going to be Bob season 4, episode 8. It's the episode where they're trying to get a Christmas tree because Linda has had them getting a Christmas tree constantly. She got a Christmas tree after Halloween, a Christmas tree after Thanksgiving, and now has to get another Christmas tree because she does not want to have Christmas Day without a Christmas tree. But every Christmas tree she's had has died up until this point. So they have to travel a distance to get the Christmas tree, and then they get followed by the candy cane. But the reason that I have this episode highlighted was because of the song Jingle in the Jungle that Gene was trying to get put on the radio. And the reason that they don't have a cell phone is because he was on hold all that time. My other honorable mention is trash. That I'm not even going to give it because I can't read my handwriting. The actual episode that makes my list at number 2 is The Bleakening. If you look at Bob's on whatever streaming platform you have, The Bleakening is actually a 2-part episode. But when it first aired, it did air as a 1-part, 45-minute long episode of Bob's. And in this episode, Teddy plants the seed of the Bleakening in the kids that if they're not behaving properly, the Bleakening is going to come and take their gifts away. It just so happens that this coincides with the gay bar being shut down in the area and all of the Christmas decorations from the town being stolen off people's porches. They think it's the Bleakin.
So I've forgotten about the gay bar. I'm remembering now what happens.
What happened, right? So much goes down in this episode. You got Linda, who had a get together for her neighbors in the spirit of Christmas. She cuts off the top of her tree, and it has ornaments on it that the kids made. Those ornaments come up missing because, again, all the Christmas decorations are being stolen, and it freaks Linda out. The kids try and find the Bleakin, and they end up finding, a secret gay bar that has now, someone stolen all the Christmas decorations and put them in the secret gay bar. And if you know me, you know I love music, and this episode has an amazing song called Christmas Lights being performed by a drag queen towards the end of that episode, where Linda has her Christmas moment where she realizes that it's not about, what you have, but again, sharing it with the people that you love. So she lets them keep the tree. She just gets her ornaments back. But again, great episode. Again, it's a 45-minute long episode if you listen to watch it in its entirety. And, it's family. It has that moment that we talk about when we were defining whether or not Die Hard was a Christmas movie. This episode has all the feels, so The Blinkening, Bob's Burgers, season 8, episode 6. I think that's how I got. My handwriting was getting bad at this point, ladies and gentlemen, but I tell you, it's there.
Nice. My number 2, Dear Sis, MASH season 7, episode 14, originally aired December the 18th, 1978. Season 7 episode, everybody is miserable at Christmas time because it's Christmas and they're miserable because they're not with their families. They try to pull themselves out of it, and especially the character of Father Mulcahy, who is writing to his sister. That's why it's called Dear Sis, that he doesn't feel useful, like he had to punch a man to get him to go down and stuff like that. He's feeling bad about that. He doesn't feel like he's useful. And at the same time, there's a character, this is his first Christmas there, the character of Charles Emerson Winchester III. He's a Boston surgeon.
That's a proud name right there, man.
It is. And it's probably my favorite character on MASH. And everybody has like their Christmas tree and they have things up underneath it. And Radar asks him, says, Major, aren't you going to check and see if there's a gift under there? He says, no, I don't think so. And he goes, Major, I happen to know that there is a gift under there for you. And he's like, it's probably a gag gift, but okay. So he undoes it, and it's his toboggan winter cap from back home. Radar wrote his mother and said that he's been feeling lonely. Is there anything that she could send? And she sends that.
Wow, that's tough.
And she said she did. And it makes him feel happy because it reminds him of home. And he says it was actually Father Mulcahy's idea. Now, Father Mulcahy had been going around asking for money so that he can get gifts and food and stuff for the orphans in the orphanage nearby. And Winchester hadn't given anything. And so he says, Father, is there still time to give to the thing? He says, certainly. And he says, here, buy them whatever they need. And he hands him a bunch of money. Then he hands him more money and says, buy them whatever they don't need. And the father says, Major, are you all right? And this is the part that gets me. And again, I hope I can get through there. And he says, you saved me, Father. You lowered a bucket into the well of my despair, and you raised me up to the light of day. I thank you for that.
That's awesome.
And MASH did like 4 or 5 Christmas episodes. There's 2 that I played. They showed them back to back. One is called Death Takes a Holiday, and the other one is called War for All Seasons. That is an episode that takes place over an entire year. And all of that. And Winchester has some of the best moments in some of these. So if we do this next year or whenever, another episode will probably show up for that. So again, it's not all laughs a minute, but Christmas is multifaceted. Just like, you had 2 episodes back to back that dealt with immigration. and all of that. So again, it's deep. All right. What's your number 1, my friend?
Before I get into the number 1, I want to say, lastly, with regards to my honorable mentions, because I had 2, and I didn't say the other one because I couldn't read my handwriting. It's because the word isn't a word; it's nicecapades, and that's the other episode of Bob's that I had on the list, the nicecapades, where the kids messed with a mall Santa who ended up being played by the Fonz, and they put on an ice show to try and show that they were actually nice, and they were coming up with things that they did that were actually very horrible, but putting a nice positive spin on it. So enjoyed that one. But my number 1 Christmas show is one that I actually remember watching when I was a pup. And it's funny because I don't know if when it came out I should have been watching it, but it's a big part of my childhood, and a lot of people in my age group that look like me credit the show, and it's none other than Martin. Um, I saw Gina kissing Santa Claus, season 1, episode 15. In this episode, I have in my notes, Martin explains the true meaning of Christmas. So at the very beginning of the episode, we have Tommy Cole in Martin's house, and they're having a conversation about Tommy, who works for Big Brothers, Big Sisters. He's working with these at-risk youth, and he wants his friends to help him with this presentation. And he comes to Martin, who is a DJ, and he says, "Hey, man, I want you to be Santa Claus." And he's like, "Why do you want uh, Martin to be Santa Claus?" And Tommy says, he's like, "Because these kids and their fathers, these kids have their fathers work all year round to come to Christmas and expect this white man to bring them gifts." And, he's like, Martin, he's like, "I want them to see a Santa that looks like their dad." And I'm like, "That's dope." And then he asked Martin to do it, and he's like, "Nah, everybody else wants to be involved, but Martin wants absolutely nothing to do with it." And then we get to the actual night of the event. Gina, Martin's girlfriend, she's up there trying to stall because Cole, who is the we characterize him as the slow friend. He volunteers to be Santa, and he's late. Martin ends up getting there and telling the story of the true meaning of Christmas, which was the birth of Jesus in the manger. He tells the story of Joseph and Mary trying to give, and he does it as only Martin can. They show up at the end. Joseph says, "I need a room." The guy says, "Do you have a reservation?" He's like, "Nah." He's like, "What's the name?" He says, "Joseph." He said, "What's the last name?" He's like, "Nah, it's just Joseph." He's like, "Oh no, like Madonna?" He's like, "No, no, no, that's her." So it was a lot of fun. Smollett, I can't even think of her. Josie, I think Josie Smollett is just a child in this one, and her role so small, but it's so hilarious because the child. Joy, go watch this episode and laugh along with me. Shoot me a message after you watch it back, because when you watch that character, that little girl is hilarious in that episode. Getting the story of Christ, the greatest story ever told, is what they call it. Getting that story from Martin in that show is great, and that is why it is my number one episode. It was just a great retelling of that story. So them being, the three wise men following the star, they got on sunglasses and they present the gifts. I got gold because he is a king. I got frankincense because he's the man, and I got myrrh. And then Martin was like, "Yeah, give me that gold." He just took this again. Great episode, man, and I encourage y'all to watch it. I saw Gina kissing Santa Claus from Martin.
Nice. Journey Smollett.
Journey, yeah, I said Josie, but Journey. I feel like her and her brothers have names so similar, but yes, Journey Smollett, just a child in that episode. But when I tell you her lines, killed it, huh?
Dude, I was on IMDb and I went down to the trivia. Now I've got to see this episode. It says the little girl who keeps saying Santa has various diseases.
Bro, it's so funny. Like, she's like, "Where's Santa at? He's running late. It could be a tumor." Like, she just listed all this stuff. It's so hilarious, man. It's so funny. And yes, Journey.
I got to see
I got your name right now. Props to you. You did a great job in that one. In the event that you're watching this show, I have followed your career. Keep shining. Keep shining.
Nice. My number one from my favorite TV show ever, Christmas Story, the Andy Griffith Show, season 1, episode 11. Their only Christmas episode that they did. It is a switch on, kind of like A Christmas Carol. Ben Weaver is the richest man in town. He owns Weaver's department store. Who during Christmas time, because they're Dry County, but during Christmas time, he's allowed to sell spirits. But he's the only one. And so he busts a guy who was making homemade moonshine and makes a citizen's arrest and wants the sheriff to lock him up. Well, they had just let a bunch of people go home for Christmas. Like, listen, right after Christmas, you all need to come back or else we'll come looking for you. You got to stay over a lot of time.
Right.
And so they're like, well, if he can't go home for Christmas, we'll bring home to him. So they lock up his wife and children too. But then they bring over a Christmas, like they have, like Aunt B makes all the food. They have a Christmas tree and all of that. And the old man, like you can tell he's like feeling sad because he keeps having reasons that they want to lock him up. Like he parks in front of a hydrant. He steals the bench in front of the courthouse. He tears up the ticket and all of that. And so they find out, and so Andy comes up with a reason for him to be arrested, and he's like, well, before he came here, he said that he wanted to do his right to go home, to go to his store and get a few things. Well, it turns out it's gifts for everybody there, and then they give him food, and it's just a heartwarming story. Like I said, the only Christmas episode that they did, but it's on my rotation every year. I spend 30 minutes watching it and just reliving the past. So just a nice little, very sentimental thing. And the woman that played Miss Ellie, Eleanor Donahue, I knew if I had said it, is Andy's love interest in the first season, sings a fantastic version of Away in a Manger. So if you all, again, very easy if you want to watch it, it's available. Pluto has the entire thing on there. So to recap, TJ at number 5 had Community, regional holiday music. My number 5 was Home for Christmas, Riptide. TJ's number 4, Superstore, Toy Drive. My number 4, Frasier, High Holidays. TJ's number 3, My Name is Earl, White Lie Christmas. My number 3, The Strike from Seinfeld. TJ's number 2, Bob's Burgers. A lot of different episodes, but you ended up with The Bleakening. I had MASH, Dear Sis at number 2. TJ's number 1, Martin, I Saw Gina's Kissing Santa Claus. And my number 1, Christmas Story from the Andy Griffith Show. Very, very wonderful list. So I encourage you all to go seek those out. Most of these things are available pretty easily on different streaming platforms. TJ, what's next for us, my friend?
Oh, just thinking we need to get back to the MCU, man.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And
Father and Son.
If you want to just have a teaser for that episode, go find the song Brandy and just listen to it. You'll be caught up.
See, and that's the thing, bro. Like this one, especially, a lot of music. Brandy, great song. Looking Glass. Father and Son, Cat Stevenson, great song. If you got dry eyes when that song come on, I need some of what you got, man, because I can't get through it, man. I can't get through it.
And we have a character cosplaying as Mary Poppins, y'all.
Mary Poppins, y'all. That's, again, you talk about that leads to why I don't have a dry eye, man. Like, that was the most genuine. He was proud of that moment. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yeah, that's the way. I'm Poppins.
Poppins. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
He's got the Poppins.
He got the Poppins.
All right. But TJ, as we record this tomorrow night, we're recording the 2025 Joey Harris Show Christmas special. But for what we're watching, any final thoughts for the year, for the season?
As I am in my Christmas sweater, and I was telling Joey in the green room, it's so hot. So if you have seen my forehead glistening more than usual, you understand why. I did this for you all. I could have easily just put on a tank top and went to town and been fine with it because, what I have on is not so much as important as what I'm giving. But I did this for y'all. And it, it, I just hope that, however you choose to enjoy this time, um, be it with family, be it alone, whatever you got going on, keep shining, keep shining. That light in you is unique to you. Uh, and I just hope that you will not let the projection of what people tell you you're supposed to be feeling and doing right now to affect your mood. Enjoy this season however you need to. And because I know that, you know, someone, their version of hell is seeing my content. So I'm going to continue to produce this so that you don't have reruns. We're
There you
trying to
go.
give you fresh talent. If your afterlife is looking at these two faces, we're trying to give you as much fresh content before those reruns start hitting. Keep shining.
And I mean, we said it at the beginning. We're up to 58.
58.
One episode a week. We done gone into the second year.
I'm saying, baby. I'm saying
We're getting closer and closer to syndication. That's when the real money comes
that's
in.
when you get that 100, baby.
I was listening to a podcast and they're discussing the Christmas episode of Perfect Strangers, if you remember Perfect Strangers.
Oh, yeah.
And they talked about that was one of those last shows where they got the real money came in when it hit syndication. Have you heard of this?
No.
Bronson Pinchot bought a town in Pennsylvania. Like he owns the town. It's a real Schitt's Creek situation. Seriously.
That's wild.
And they're like, that man really does what he wants to now. Like he takes what projects he wants to, and he'll go to the conventions. Him and Mark Lynn Baker will go to conventions when they want to. He does like all the audible books and narration and stuff. But they're like, they got one of the last really, really good deals before the money. Now you've got so many different things and different things.
Right.
The money's not really there, but yeah,
that's awesome. By a town. Some kind of special.
Patreon.com/Baby Kangaroo Media is where it's all at. Just $5 a month for everything. Now, folks, if you want to sign up for free, you get a lot of stuff that way, including everything in December is free. But if you want everything, the backlog, we've got over 70 pieces. Now, I had said that for almost a month, and I realized we were like at 68 or 69 pieces. I'm like, let me add something else so I can not be a liar. I thought we had 70. I'm like, maybe they're taking stuff away.
Hey, look, it's there now.
It's there now. Yes. 100%.
That is a Happy Meal full of content, folks, for cheaper than a Happy Meal. Come on.
But this is my wish for you all. Like TJ said, if you want to come back, we'll always be here. We're open 24 hours a day. If you hit that subscribe button, you'll be notified every time a new episode drops. But if you want to watch the old ones, I think I'm missing 3, and they're on my regular channel. I'm trying to just get the video. I might just need to just download it and then re-upload it. But everything else is there for that. But my hope for all of you this year, for real, regardless of what happens, I hope next year is a better year than this year was. So if this year was great, I hope next year's even better. If this year wasn't so great, next year is going to be better. That's what keeps us keeping on, is the hope of the new year. But TJ, thank you as always, my brother. For TJ, this is Joey saying we will talk to you all next time.